Okay, let's do my last set of examples where we are going to multiply a binomial times a trinomial. And we are going to use x plus 1 times x squared plus 5x plus 8. And we are going to still use the same box method, okay? So I'm going to make a box that is 2 by 3. Okay, and you could make a box that is 3 by 2. It all just depends on where your binomial is and where your trinomial is. So since I have 2 boxes here and there's 2 terms here, I'm going to put x plus 1 here. And then on the top, I'm going to put my trinomial, x squared plus 5x plus 8. So I'm going to do the same method where I'm taking x times x squared and I'm getting x to the 3rd power because I have 3 x's here. X times x times x. So then I'm going to take 5x times x and get 5x squared. And then I'm going to finish this x off and say x times 8 and get 8x. Okay, so now I'm done with my top row and I'm done with my x. So now I'm going to take the 1 and take it times x squared. 1 times x squared is x squared. I'm going to take the 1 times the 5x. 1 times 5 is 5, and I'm going to bring down the x. And then I've got 1 times 8, which is a positive 8. Okay, so kind of the same thing. I'm ignoring what is on the outside. And I'm going to combine the 6 boxes on the inside. So x cubed is the only x cubed, so it comes down. And it's first because that has the highest degree. Okay? Then I'm looking at my x squareds. This is really 1x squared. So 1 plus 5 gives me a 6x squared. Okay, so I've used up x squared, I've used up 5 and 1x squared. Now I'm moving on to 5x plus 8x. If I have 5 x's and I have 8 more, that gives me 13 x's. And notice everything that I'm combining is diagonal to each other. Okay, and then my last term is a plus 8, which has a degree of 0. And so we know this one has 4 terms. It is a polynomial. And that is as simplified as it gets. Okay, so let's look at another example. Let's have n minus 3 as our binomial times the trinomial n squared minus 2n plus 4. Okay? And let's do our box a little different this time, and I want to show you it works both ways. So instead of doing 3 across, let's go ahead and do 2 across. So I'm going to put the 1, 2, 3. So since this has 2 columns, I'm using my binomial and putting n minus 3. Then since this is my trinomial, fill in my 3 boxes, n squared minus 2n plus 4. And notice how if it's a positive, I don't really have to put a plus there, I just know. So let's look at it this way. Do the exact same thing. N squared times n gives me n to the 3rd power because I have n times n times n. Okay? Now let's take n squared times a negative 3. There's really a 1 in front, so 1 times negative 3 is a negative 3n squared. So I'm done with my n squared, I'm done with that row. So now let's move on to my second row. Negative 2n times n. Obviously a 1 in front, negative 2 times 1 is a negative 2, and then n times n is n squared. And notice my n squareds are diagonal from each other. So let's go ahead and take negative 2n times a negative 3 If you remember, negative times a negative is a positive. So I'm going to have a positive 6n. So now I'm done with my negative 2n. So now I need to distribute that 4 to the n. So I'm going to multiply 4 times n and get 4n. Notice again, my n's to the first is diagonal from each other. And my last box to fill, negative 3 times a positive 4, gives us a negative 12. So now we are at the point where I'm ignoring what's on the outside and I'm writing this in standard form. Standard form means n cubed goes first, then it's a negative 3 minus 2, which gives us a negative 5n squared, and then a 6n plus 4n gives me a positive 10n minus 12, okay? I hope this is helping. I hope the box method helps. If not, I will see you on Friday, and I want you to at least attempt the homework, and I will see you on Friday.